I just had one of the best weekends of my life. And I don't know how I did not try this before. But now that I'm responsible for my life, I'm making decisions that are making my life better. When I was younger, my mom used to work for a Jewish family, and I will get to see everything they will do and not appreciate it as much as I appreciate it now. They opened the doors of their homes for her daughters, me and my sisters, but my mom got to live there every single day because she was a housekeeper. This Jewish family was they are millionaires and they had many kids. And I remember I didn't pay attention to how they handle a household and how they handle their business. And they had routines and things going on and a lot of culture and religion in it that I know it wasn't perfect, but it was there was something there that I didn't know about. And now I'm finding it out. So my mom invites me to live in there with her for like 3 months, and I got to see things. Of course, I was helping her with the cleaning and anything that was needed. They will pay me extra if I had to, and things like that. What I learned is that the mom of this family, she was a genius to how to maintain the house and keep everybody on routines and doing things. She was really good at the home system, which to me, this is something so important now in my life. And the husband was a really good businessman. And then they had like about 5 kids or 6 kids. They had 6 kids. And the house was huge. They had a basement, they had the main floor, then they had another floor, and it was so big. And I remember that they would have like a Shabbat day on Saturdays where they couldn't touch electronics. They had a lot of food ready. They would share a huge table, which is like my dream, literally, to have something like that. I really love long rectangled tables like they show in certain movies, full of food with the whole family, even if it's not fully your family members. But it looks like a holiday day, right? Well, they did it every single Saturday and Friday. It started at Friday night and it ends on Saturday night. And so I am somebody that runs a business, has a relationship, and I work every day on my relationship, on myself, on my dreams, on my YouTube, my work, and also in our business. And I'm noticing that my life is not only business, relationship, it's also my home, the systems that I set, the diets that I eat, and all of those things to me matter. And so I find out that they ate really healthy food. The refrigerator was always packed with healthy food and amazing food. They also didn't mix cheese with meat. I learned so much from living in those places. I'm super grateful for this because it opened my eyes now. Because I used to live with the mindset that I grew up and with how my mom raised me, which she did her best. But now I'm like opening more my eyes to the world and I'm being more responsible and making my own decisions and choosing my own beliefs, which is really important for me. What do I believe is important to me? And so I decided on Friday to start my first Shabbat. I didn't do it perfectly. Also, if you want to know more about this, I can explain a little bit. Let me explain it. It's when you take the day off from Friday night to Saturday night and you connect spiritually with your family, you connect with your community, you don't work. It's a rest day. You just rest. But you also have a lot of food ready for you to have, your meals when you need to. And so I did this. It was a last minute kind of thing that I decided to do. So I had like 3 hours to get everything done, have the home tidy, have food ready, get candles, because you also have to turn on some candles and do prayers for what you want in your life. For me, it's like love, security, light, and anything, just a blessed home, and my family, of course. So in our business. But what I mean with all of this is the after I did that, that's when everything started. I had candles on the table. The house was dark, and I'm like, okay, no more phone, no more work, no electronics, nothing. So what am I gonna do? I said, and I was pretty tired, so I was like, I'm going to read. So there's certain things that you can do. You can read. Apparently, you can't write, but that's like much more religious. I really enjoy writing, and I think it's the best you can do, no matter when or what. And you can't use, of course, you can play video games and things like that, but you can play board games, you can play with your family, you can talk with your family, you can connect with them, eat food, no cooking, no cleaning, no organizing, nothing that requires effort and work, and more like resting your soul, and nurture your soul, your spirit, your body, and your mind. So that means even not using a car, so you have to walk. And it also pushes you to go more outside and enjoy and be more present. It's something that I've been wanting to do. So sometimes I feel like my prayers and the things that I think about get answered. And I always say that I'm guided. I'm always guided. I don't know if it's my angels or if it's angels, if it's God. I'm always feeling like I'm guided. And that was like a guided thing. And maybe I was told this years ago and I'm just implementing it. So I did it. And I had no phone, no electronics, no internet, nothing until the next day. And I was able to think so much and so clear. I even played like a chicken soup a game. I even play a chicken soup game in order to think more because sometimes I scroll or I'm on my phone and I'm like, why am I on my phone? I don't really need to be on my phone. And so as I was doing it, my mind thinks more. So everything that I was thinking, I had a notebook next to me to write down one by one what thoughts came to my head. And it was amazing. I came to amazing conclusions. And I talked with my husband. My husband decided that day to do a dopamine detox day. So for him was a dopamine detox day. For me was a Shabbat day. Mine was more about resting and human connection. Him was more about like no dopamine. So it meant he didn't want to talk. So we were a little bit on the opposite side, but learning from each other. So he didn't want any type of dopamine. He couldn't read, listen to music. Me neither. I couldn't do music, but I could read. And we ended up, because he was doing the dopamine detox, he ended up enjoying much more talking with me and communicating. And that's one of the main things I want because we both run a business and this could be very busy, taking. It takes so much of your time. And my husband's the one putting most of his time on it. So sometimes I feel like I'm alone and he feels like he's the only one running the business. So it's the first time that when we decided to do this, we actually communicated that he needs me to show up more in the business and I needed him to show up more in household and in home, right? And in our relationship. And it felt so good. The way we talked, the way we came up with solutions, we created a spreadsheet, a schedule for us to show up this week. That it opened my mind that in the business you can focus on so many things, but at the same time there's only three important things: your product, your marketing, and the selling. And I didn't know these things. And so while my husband is going to be making his YouTube live videos, I'm going to be reading for 30 minutes from a book, depending on which day, in what area I'm going to be focusing. Let me explain it. If on Monday I'm focusing on product, then I read books that are about product. If on Tuesday I'm doing marketing, then I'm going to read books that have to do with marketing. And on Wednesdays, sales. So I'm going to be reading a book for 30 minutes on sales. And you can also get ready the day before by going to bed and listening and reading the book. So this is the first time we're going to try something like this, but I already feel much more in track in order to come back to the business stronger. So, to any women out there who have a very ambitious, ambitious and grinding husband who's always working on business and working so hard. And sometimes you have to slow down because you're pregnant or anything happens. There's a solution and you can always find it. And one is just setting goals together. So we did that. And this time we came with an amazing system. I haven't tried it, so I do want to document it and I do want to bring a video at some point where I can tell you how this week was for me. So today for me, it was really nice to start working on the business, but I'm not working yet on the business. I just set the intention for the week. So I read a book about management. It's called Buy Back Your Time and Leadership. It's more about leadership too. And this is a book by Dan Martell. This is another entrepreneur that we watch that we really like, and there's so much to learn about him. And I was reading the book, it's amazing. And I'm already feeling on track, like I can bring ideas. And it's so funny how one chapter or 2 or 3 pages can actually change the course of your brain and how you think and how confident you feel and how many ideas you can have. And I'm excited to be on our next team meeting to share these things and share what I'm going to come up with. And then, of course, you can have a scorecard and 3 priorities for the business and things like that. So, I wanted to share this with you guys about how I'm going to be starting my week and how and where am I right now. And this is where am I. And the best thing I've done was truly resting from everything from Friday night to Saturday night. I totally recommend this. It gave me time to even play with the dogs, the cats, to think, to write down the things that are in my mind that sometimes I completely ignore because I'm just zoned out on my phone. Something that, of course, I'm going to be changing. And I hope that this is really helpful for you too. But this is all I wanted to share about today. I hope you really enjoyed this video. And if you like it, I invite you to subscribe to see more content like this. And see you on my next video. Bye.